How's it going, everybody? So today I'm going to be talking about the brand new album from the band Imperial Age. And the name of this album is New World, and y'all know it. Before I get into that nitty gritty, let's check out the cover. So boom, there it is. Take a look at the cover. I dig it. I dig it. Looks really, really cool. The ocean looks really, really nice. I like the detail in it with the waves and the texture of it. Really well done, and it's cool. You got this ship sailing away from what looks like Egypt, or something like these pyramids and kind of constructs and whatnot. And the sky, it's interesting how it's kind of split. You kind of have this orange sky, and then to the other side, it's like a brighter, blue sky, almost as if I don't know. They're sailing to in search of a better place or something like that. Away from perhaps darker days or what have you. Perhaps there's a metaphor in there somewhere. Not sure, but it just looks really neat. It looks really nice. As far as would it stop you in your tracks if you're looking through albums at a CD shop? It's hard to say. It's hard to say on this one. It looks really, really cool. I also love how their logo for the band name Imperial Age looks up there. It looks really, really clean. I think this album cover would give you pause. You kind of look at it, and it just looks cool. So yeah, I mean, I dig the look of it. I think it looks really, really pretty, and the detail, like I said, and the waves and the water and on the ship and the band logo looks tight. Does it give you a good idea of what to expect musically on the album? Oh, yeah, I think it does. Most definitely. You would look at this and pretty much assume this is either going to be some symphonic metal or some power metal. And I don't really see any other way around that, whether it be kind of like a seafaring, pirate kind of symphonic metal, or just more straightforward symphonic metal, or some power metal, something along those lines. And that's pretty much what you get. So I give the cover an A plus on both fronts. I think it looks really cool, looks really nice and clean with the colors, and it gives you a good indication on. You wouldn't be surprised if you pick this up. Never heard of the band before. You pick this up, if you like the cover, you get home, you put it on, you would not be surprised by the music. So yeah, good stuff. Now for the album itself. This bad boy's got 8 songs on there and comes in at just shy of 47 minutes. It's a pretty brisk, moving album. All the songs are relatively short, except the final song, which is a 18-minute long track, and I'll talk more about that song later on. But yeah, really what you're getting here, do not expect a real guitar-driven album with, lots of solos, lots of shredding, some real speedy riffs. Nothing like that. The guitar is definitely there, and the guitar work is certainly solid, but it more provides the backbone to the music. It gives the music a good foundation, for where everything else is layered on top of that. So you're more getting just riffs and sounds that kind of, like I said, give that the backbone, give that solid foundation that kind of you know moves the song in the various directions that it's meant to move, and everything else on top of that is more of giving the song its identity and its flavor and all of that kind of stuff. So the guitar is very, very important here, but it is most definitely not in the forefront. It's not something that you'll be like, oh man, look at that, the guitar shredding, going crazy. Nothing like that. You do get your occasional little solos and little moments where the guitar takes a little bit of the spotlight, but it really is few and far between. For the most part, you just kind of hear it providing that foundational kind of sound in the background, and it does a great job of doing that, and it sounds really good and crisp, and a really nice mix between. It's not aggressive, And it's heavy. There's a heaviness to it, but it's not like a super duper heavy in your face guitar sound. It's to me it's just the right sound for the music to give enough of a oomph, give enough of a solid bass for the rest of the music to be layered onto and to really kind of drive the songs in the proper direction. So that's really what you get on the guitar side. The majority here, the big driving force of the music, the big real highlight, the big thing that really makes uh, the album what it is the keyboard and the symphonic elements. I mean, it is just purely from start to finish here, it just full on symphonic sounds and element everything you can think of. There's like violin, there's brass, like I said, string, there's all kinds of stuff, there's choirs. It's very, very symphonic here. And it's funny, the thing about this album is, first and foremost, it doesn't really, it's not like it changes the game or anything. It doesn't like set the world on fire. It's not like the kind of album where it breaks all the rules and it just really creates this new sound or anything like that. It's not groundbreaking by any stretch, but what they do, the Imperial Age, the sound they go for, they do it very, very well. And they certainly stand out with this signature sound, that they've really kind of, uh, nursed and crafted over the years to near perfection, in my opinion. The sound that is Imperial Age, the sound that they want to define them. They have really, really just, what's the word I'm looking for? Just refined that sound over the years. And this album is a great culmination, a great example of how much they have just focused in on the sound that they want and have how well they have gotten at executing that sound. It truly, again, when I say nothing is really groundbreaking, but it does sound, again, really, really great for what they do. Although, well, which I'll talk about a little bit more. I say this while kind of excluding the last song, the final track, which I'll talk about that track a little bit later. But what you're getting here, though, is just this really awesome symphonic, uh, bright sounding, metal here with. They have like three different vocalists, and then on top of that, you hear like choirs also kind of going at various spots, and every song has a similar style, like a similar feel and vibe for the most part. But again, when I talk about the refinement, is each song still has its own identity. They really walk a fine line between all the songs kind of sounding the same, but they have managed to create it so every song has a similar sound. It sounds like Imperial Age, but they each have their own identity still, even though they have a very similar format. They tend to be somewhat upbeat, not too speedy. There's a couple that have some more of an up tempo nature to them, but they tend to be a little bit more deliberate and but just have a positive kind of uplifting, cheery kind of sound, a fist pumping, a very anthemic kind of sound, and very melodic, very, very melodic. So the verses tend to be kind of switching between the different vocalists, and one kind of takes a section, and then another one comes in and takes that section, and then the chorus always tends to be all of them together doing some sort of anthemic kind of chant worthy melodic chorus where everything kind of comes together, more symphonic elements, and it gets real bombastic and epic. And you're just really tapping your foot to it and just really digging it. It's a real kind of like raise your fist in the air. It just, they just do such a great job with that sound. And I was thoroughly impressed because, hearing the singles, which I really liked, I wasn't quite sure how the whole album was going to come together, but I ended up enjoying the album much more than I anticipated. When I started it, I thought I was going to like it, but as I was listening to the album, I was like, man, they did such a great job. So that, at the end of the day, that's really what you're getting here. The guitar really just forms like a nice foundation. Nothing too crazy, but great sound. Um, and then the symphonic elements are just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. The mix is solid because there's times where there was so much going on that's all combining to create this one sound, this one chorus, and it just feels epic and it feels full. You hear all the vocalists singing, plus like a choir going, plus the guitar, riffs in the background, and the drum providing some, really solid uh, uh, the beats and rhythms. And then all the symphonic elements just thrown on top of that as well. So there's a lot going on at times, and oftentimes all at once. But it doesn't create a mess, which again just tells of their skill, that they've developed in creating this refined sound, because it all just sounds very epic, and you can distinguish between the different things that are going on. And so that's really the sound you're getting. Just a lot of epic, symphonic, bombastic, anthemic music here that pretty much is just from start to finish. There's not too much of a variation in that sound whatsoever, but again, every song has its own identity and is memorable for it being that song. It doesn't all just bleed together, but it all fits together very well. So I really am just impressed at the way that they were able to create that sound. Because oftentimes, there's some bands that rely on this kind of format in the music where it kind of builds up through the verses and then it just gets very anthemic and kind of chant worthy during the chorus, and then such and so on and so forth. I get bored on a lot of those at times because it just gets repetitive. It feels the same. But here, there's a lot of, it just is, the songwriting is just done so well that every song, I don't get fatigued by it. Every song I get amped, I get hyped over it, and I get excited about. And it's just really done well. So it starts out with Windborn, which kind of really, kicks off with somewhat of a playful, seafaring, epic kind of symphonic song to really kind of get the ball rolling. It's a great start. Then you got two of the singles, Legend of the Free, and then The Way is the Aim, which follow, which again have that format really where you kind of have the different vocalists going, and the verse kind of builds to the chorus, and it gets really grand. But the melodies are just so good, and they all sound so good together. And again, the symphonic elements are just done incredibly well. It continues forward. You get like Shackles of Gold is really kind of cool. It kind of starts out having a somewhat of kind of like an Irish or something kind of vibe going on with that jiggy kind of beat and rhythm. And track 7, Distant Shores, is one of the most epic songs on the album. I would say, in my opinion, the most epic of tracks 1 through 7. Oh, it's one of my favorite songs, if not my favorite song on the album, because it just has such an epic feel, and the chorus and everything feels so grand and all that kind of stuff. It's just so good. And then after tracks 1 through 7, and like I said, all the tracks, most of them, let me see here, most of them are like 4 minutes roughly or less. The longest one of those, of 1 through 7, is Distant Shores, which is still less than 5 minutes. So you're thinking, and this is a 46-minute long album, but these songs are so short. Track 8 is an 18-minute long epic. Now, you might say 18 minutes, holy moly, and that's what I was thinking too. But I tell you something, folks, this song is called Call of the Towers. It is an 18 long minute masterpiece. I would go so far as to say the song is a masterpiece because I listened to the albums multiple times before I give my thoughts on it, and you would think sometimes like by the time I get to the end, because the album moves real brisk, and then you get to track 8, which is 18 minutes. You'd think I'd be like, oh, now I get here I got to listen to this 18 long minute deal before I start the album over to listen to it again. I get excited every time I get to the end. I get to listen to this song again. It it's just got everything. It's got everything. It is done so well that every single minute of this 18-minute long masterpiece is just great. It's got so many different movements and pieces in there that they're just so awesome. It's got moments where one of the vocalists kind of takes the forefront and does something. It's got ups and downs. It's got moments where it gets real grand, and it gets moments where it gets a little softer and melancholic a little bit and whatnot, and then it gets grand again, and all the vocalists come in again. It's got every kind of symphonic thing that you could think of thrown in here. I think I hear like flutes and stuff going, and there's one part that's so sick. It kind of gets a little bit gothic with an organ kind of playing, and these bells ringing and chiming, and it just has everything, and it's arranged so well. I can't even begin to think how difficult it would be to put together an 18-minute long track that has vocals. It's got different movements throughout. It's got all these different symphonic elements. It's got guitar, which the guitar gets to have some shining moments in here with little solos and stuff. Literally everything. The drums get a nice little highlight. It just, everything gets showcased here, and it all just works together so well. There's different parts that sound a little bit different, but it all kind of is woven around this one core sound throughout the whole song that it kind of keeps coming back to, and it just works so beautifully and so well that I just dig it. And you get, like I said, you get parts of vocals, and then you get long stretches, like minutes long stretches of just instrumentals and stuff like that. And then it all just builds up to the end, and just pretty much everything all comes together, and it just gets so epic. The melody, the vocal melody, they're just singing at the tops of their lungs, and the symphonic elements are as grand as you could be. I was listening in my headphones, and I was like, if this got any more like epic, I feel like I would be like sucked into the headphones and just part of this symphonic, melody itself, like inside the music. I don't know. It sounds kind of weird, but it just gets so like grand and bombastic and epic that it's just like, it really kind of takes you away to this, just sound that they've created. It's just so good. And it just ends the album so incredibly. And like I said, the end of the song just is so epic and grand, and is a great cap to end this 18-minute long epic on. And it just truly, I would say the song is an absolute masterpiece, and the song not to miss. You might say, wow, you're telling us all to make sure that we check out an 18-minute long song. Good grief. Well, yes, I am telling you all that. That's the song not to miss. But if you don't have 18 minutes, I implore you to just listen to it. But if you don't, I'd say listen to Distant Shores as the one not to miss. That's not 18 minutes long, because it's just very, very epic. But yeah, what an incredible song to end the album on. And again, I just applaud them for the songwriting and the feel, and everything just works together so well, and it really exceeded my expectations. I really, really enjoy this album a lot. It's something that is real nice to just kind of to put on, and it's very inoffensive. It's not too much in your face. Yes, it's epic and grand, but not like smacking you in the face type, where it's just like boom, boom, boom. It just flows so well, and it just feels epic. It's great to listen to, whether you're sitting there just focusing on the music, or if you're doing something like I'm sitting there working, working finance. So I'm sitting there in Excel spreadsheets doing financial type stuff, and I feel epic sitting there doing that because I'm listening to this epic music. So it can make a job as mundane as that feel epic. So, or you can listen to while you're playing a video game and getting hype as you're going and fighting the other guys or what have you. It just really, really, really solid album. So if you're into symphonic metal, especially, don't miss this. Power metal, there's some power metal elements throughout, without a doubt. So if you're into symphonic metal, melodic metal, power metal, just epic metal, anything like that, I really encourage you to not miss this album. It's just put together so well, and there's a lot to enjoy here. So um, if I were to give you one song to check out for you to decide if you want to hear the whole album or not, um, I would say check out The Wheel. It's not one of my favorite songs, but I feel like this really captures the essence of the whole album kind of in one song the best. It's a little bit more of an up-tempo one, which gives you a feel for that. The guitar is a smidge more aggressive, but great melody, great catchy beat, and all of that kind of stuff. So I think it gives you a good indication of every side that this album has. So yeah, I would check out The Wheel if you're like, I only have time to listen to one song in order to decide if I want to hear the whole album. Go with The Wheel. Or just go with Distant Shores because that song is so epic. But I suggest you just listen to the whole thing. It's just done really, really well. So that's my thoughts on that. I really, really enjoyed this bad boy quite a bit. It's definitely going to go into a rotation. It's not an album where it's like I listen to it, I do an album thoughts on it, and boom, that's that. No, this album's going to go on rotation without a doubt. It's something I'll be listening to for quite some time. So, yeah, that's what I got for y'all. Let me know in the comments down below if you've listened to this album yet. What are your thoughts on it? Let's talk about it in the comments down below, and I'll catch y'all next time. Ranger out.